Happy weekend, everyone. Cody Cooks. Sorry I haven't posted anything really this week, but I've been a bit under the weather. But anyway, today's recipe is actually going to be shepherd's pie, but I'm going to put a few videos up on perfect mash, which I'll show you in a minute, and how to improve flavour in dishes with a good roasted mushroom recipe. So first, potatoes, right? Perfect mash. This one's about perfect mash, this video. Right, so I have peeled and cut my potatoes. You want to get them all the same size. That's what you want to do first, right? Because you don't want some little bits and some big bits, because you'll get inconsistency in your mash. So cut big pot. These are going to be rinsed twice. So rinse them in cold water twice, because that releases some of the starch. You don't want, for mashed potato, you don't want starch, okay? If you get starch in your mashed potatoes, it's going to be grainy. So they're going to be washed twice. Do not put any salt in the water when you're mashing potatoes. You know, if you're roasting them, yeah, put salt in. When you're boiling them, parboiling them. But for mash, no salt. You season afterwards, okay? So rinse, no salt. Boil them, parboil them until they're really, really soft, and then we go in with the other bits for perfect mash. Okay, people, mashed potatoes. So potatoes have been parboiling. They now look like this. You see that I have obviously drained them, and they're just coming apart. Yeah, they're just flaking apart. Now, a couple of ways you can do this, right? The way I do it for everyday use, I have a very solid masher. This is stainless steel, it's quite heavy, right? It really gets into potatoes. It gives you a nice mash. If you want restaurant style smooth potato puree, you can pick yourself one of these up. It's a potato ricer. So you put your potatoes in there, go down that, scrunch, and it comes out, they're really, really, really smooth. But for something like a shepherd's pie that I'm gonna do, I don't want it really runny, so yeah, I use a masher. The first thing you want to do while they're hot, just get in there with a masher. Yeah, just break down all those potatoes. You don't want to add any other ingredients like milk or butter yet. Okay, so just get those nice and mashed, fluffy. Helps with the old bingo wings, although I haven't got bingo wings because I'm a god. Yeah, that'll make a few people laugh. All right, and just get in there with a masher. Yeah, the good thing about this one, it's got a slightly curved edge, so I can get right in to the side of the pan. Okay, get those going, right, and you'll get to a stage where you won't see any what's the word I'm looking at? You'll see some clear lumps where the potato hasn't actually quite mashed, right? But if I put the camera in here now, right, flatten this off a bit, you'll see there's not many. You can see a few here, right? That's a perfect, sorry, here, right? So that's a perfect consistency. Oh, camera's steamed up. To start adding your other bits. First thing you do, right? Don't be afraid of this. A good lump of butter like that. Obviously not in one lump because it's going to be harder to incorporate. Just put it into a few cubes. Get it on my thing here. Right. Stuff your butter in. All right. You got to work quick on this, right? Because you want the butter to incorporate. Just give that a mash, and you'll actually see the mash changing colour. It'll go sort of a yellowy, creamy colour as that butter gets in. And just keep mashing away, get that butter in, and it will become quite a workout for your arm, but no pain and no gain. Keep mashing away. All right, and once that butter's incorporated, nice and in there. This is when you start seeing it become quite smooth. All right, the next ingredient you want to go in with, milk, whole milk, right? Whole milk's better, right? It does work with semi-skims, and I know you're all the health conscious, but I've got a 17-year-old who goes down the gym every day, and he's into protein and stuff like that. So, full fat milk, right? This is really by eye, okay? So pour probably about 250 ml of the milk in there, and this is where you've got to be a bit careful, because if you go too vigorous at this now, you're just going to cover yourself with milky mash. Okay, get that in there, and you can see it's becoming nice and smooth. I'll show you in a minute. As I say, this becomes a bit of by eye. It's getting there now. me get the spoon out. And you can see, like, it's really, it's a bit craggy, but it's nice and smooth, yeah? All right, I actually think this needs a tiny bit more milk, just to get those last. What happens when you push the, let me just show you here. When you push the masher in all the way down to the bottom of the pan, you'll see that there's not much grainy stuff. Can you see that? There's not much grainy bits in there. That means your mash is coming together. It's going to be nice and smooth, right? So at this stage, right, it's nice, it's fluffy. At this stage, this is when you season it, right? Season it to taste. Now, put your salt grinders away, right? Because if you grind salt into this now, you've got no idea of how much salt you're putting in, right? And we're all very salt conscious, right? Yeah, I'm on tablets because of cholesterol and all like that. But anyway, so this is where I like to use flaky sea salt, right? And I've just got a pinch here, right? So just crush it in, right? And I'm going to put 2 pinches in there. This is enough for like 3 or 4 people. I'm going to put 2 pinches in there. Make sure you continue to mash that away, right? And you'll notice when the salt gets added, the potatoes start to go a bit more claggy again, right? That's a reaction with the salt and the starch that's left over on the potato. Right, at this point, right, make sure you wipe your hands so you haven't got any residue from putting the salt in. Little finger in there. Taste. Then go and wash your finger. Right, that's not quite enough salt, right? So I'm going to put another 2 pinches in there. Okay. Wipe your hands and then mash away. Now, because I've added a bit more salt in there, again, the potatoes going quite claggy. So at this point, I'm going to dash more milk, right? Just to loosen it up a bit, right? Because what I'm going to do is I'm using this potato for a cottage pie, right? So I want it quite smooth, and a bit of that's because I'm going to be a bit of a posh git here. Some people call me a posh something else, right? But I am going to pipe this just for this video, really. Normally I just I'll put the potato on and then prick it up with a fork, right? So again, go in, right? Little taste. Right, the seasoning on that is very close to being perfect, right? But I'm not going to add some more salt. I'm just going to go and wash my fingers again. Right, because I'm using this for a cottage pie, don't need the masher anymore, because as you can see, that mash is perfect, right? So get rid of this. Notice I'm doing that with the back of a knife, so you're not ruining the blade of your knife. Another little tip for you. If you're scraping something off, always use the back of the knife, not the front of the knife. Ooh. Right, as I say, because this is going in a cottage pie, I'm going to add a nice bit of grated cheese. Now, cheese has got a bit salty, hence why I didn't add any more salt, because the seasoning's there. I'm just going to put a couple of handfuls of grated cheese. Now, this isn't pre-grated cheese. I did grate this earlier. We always have grated cheese in the fridge. Then you don't need a mash, you just need a spoon, right? And just mix that cheese round in the hot potato, right? And it's going to melt that cheese in, right? This is nearly at the perfect stage, right, for our cottage pie. Or you know, you can have this with your sausages and mash. That cheese just gives a little bit more elevated to your normal mash, right? And as you'll see, right, let's just get the camera in here so you can see it. Just getting the aesthetics off here. Right, look at this mash now. Look, that is perfect, right? And if I pull the spoon up, look, perfect, absolutely perfect. Now, if you did the mashing with a ricer, that would actually fall off like it was nearly liquid, right? And as I say, for ricing, if you've got a dinner party or something like that, right, it's worth ricing the potatoes because you get this really nice smooth potato like on puree. Right, it's great. Restaurants do it all the time. Anyway, that's the mash done. Okay, I'm going to use that for a cottage pie for another video. If you like these tips, yeah, hit the button, like and subscribe. Doesn't cost you anything to subscribe, right? It just means you get notified when I put a new video up. So there you go. Hope you like the video, like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video for cottage pie. Cheers everyone, Covey Cooks.